Hello and welcome to Kits and Wagers. We're talking game week 28 this week. I am Adam Zdroik, joined by Chris Owen. We're coming to you Thursday morning, so this is after maybe 2 or 3 press conferences. So we're hopefully, won't be missing on too many injuries. But Chris, welcome in. Good morning. 7 a.m. near you. How are we feeling?
Feeling well. Need this coffee to kick in a little bit more. It's good to talk again. I was saying last week how nice it's been to have some big games played throughout. It seems like every midweek's got a big game. And last week we had the League Cup final, which turned out well for myself and for Liverpool. It's a little bit questionable on some of the things that happened in that game. Overall, great game. So I enjoyed that, and then just some FA Cup matches to have on in the background during the day. So yeah, it's been good. And then also we had the beginning of the MLS season last weekend too. I'm not, I'm a Sounders supporter. Wouldn't say like super fan or anything like that, but kind of just a transplant. And so I'm going back to the well here this week.
That's what I thought that was.
With my kits and wagers, or my kit for kits and wagers. Last night I went and saw Jason Isbell in the 400 unit. It's like a kind of Americana, like folk rock band, and they were better than I thought they were going to be, honestly. And for the encore when they came back out, they brought out Mike McCready, the guitarist from Pearl Jam, to do the encore. And the last song that they finished with was "Little Wing" by Jimi Hendrix. And so I was just like,
Wow.
Yeah. So it was really cool. Totally unexpected. And the Sounders kit is like Jimi Hendrix inspired. It's like, Purple Rain type of, or, purple. So it's pretty cool. But I was like, you know what? MLS started last weekend. I just saw Little Wing live, and yeah. That's how I roll. I was like, I gotta go with this one. But
Nice.
yeah.
I mean, you got Jason Isbell bringing in Pearl Jam and
Yeah,
then playing Jimi Hendrix. It's pretty wild.
it was the best of a lot of worlds there.
And I mean, what this was less than 12 hours ago. So,
Yeah,
Chris is here for the
it's
show.
yeah, it was about 8 hours ago, 10 hours ago.
Yeah, so I'm going. I got Manchester United here. This is my only paraphernalia here for either of the Manchester clubs. So I had to, for the derby, I had to go with my one Manchester piece, and it happens to be Manchester United. And I'm not saying that's who I'm supporting, but we'll get to that later in the show. But so I guess we got to first touch on just it's one thing in the betting community. It's bad to brag or even talk about success. So I'm very reluctant to do this, but because my next month is going to be terrible. But it's not every day that you hit every bet that you reveal to the public. So last week I hit on my best bet in the show, which was Brentford Newcastle. No on both teams to score. Brentford got an early red card, and there's pretty much in trouble that entire match against Newcastle. Lost 2-0. In my article at rotowire.com, you can find that every week. I hit all 4 of my bets in that one. And then I think I hit draw. We had our bets on Twitter on RotoWire Soccer. I hit draw between Chelsea and Liverpool in the League Cup final. And for the subscribers, if you want to subscribe to RotoWire, rotowire.com/soccer trial free, 10-day trial, no credit card required. Yesterday I was messing around with a FA Cup parlay. It involved I saw Chelsea starting 11. They're starting Hudson-Odoi and Kennedy at fullback. So I figured Luton Town, I believe they played, we're going to get at least a goal. So I put that together as plus 115 for both teams to score in that match. Combine that with the over in Southampton West Ham, and then I took Liverpool money line, and I was like plus 400 odds on the parlay. That hit. So I'm coming into the show, all these winners, except now that I'm saying this out loud, I definitely like the next month I'm going to be losing bets, but hopefully maybe this is the anti-jinx because I'm realizing that I'm saying this. So maybe, double jinx, anti-jinx, whatever. I don't know. We'll see.
It's like meditation. You're like recognizing all the emotions around you, and because you do that, then you'll have future success. So, I mean, good for you on that. That sounds like a heck of a FA Cup parlay.
Yeah, I mean, what FA Cup parlay previous week was Europa League, Europa Conference League
Yes.
parlay. Just getting
What
those all in there.
what we're learning here is that the midweek matches, the parlays for those are your bread and butter. So get in the Discord,
Yeah,
mix
it
it up.
seems like it's easier to do parlays midweek than I don't know. I like all the singular bets going on the weekend because I guess it's more prep time. Whereas like, with this midweek stuff, you got to wait until the lineup comes
Right.
out because you don't know who's playing in these midweek matches, and then once you see that, then you can make your move. So maybe that's maybe why I like parlays a little more. I don't know.
You're like less like in the trenches too on some of those bets. Whereas like the Premier League, you've done player notes, you've done rankings, you've got an article coming out, and you're like, okay, like I think I know everything that I know, and then you like, kind of hone in on a couple specific bets. Whereas like that, you're like, that sounds kind of good. Like let's roll
Yeah.
with that. I kind of like that player too. Maybe we'll roll with this team.
Yeah, so Gaming 28 here. We are discussing we got two pretty big matchups, and we also have, I guess I'll say, okay, we got three pretty big matchups. First one we're talking about is a relegation battle. And I was just saying before the show, it's kind of surprising that, Brentford are actually 15th in the table. It seems like they've lost like every match over the last 3 months, but that's where they are. So we got Norwich home against Brentford. Norwich are plus 195 to win. They're actually the underdog. Draw is plus 210, and Brentford are plus 160 to win, which is kind of surprising here. You can get over 2.5 goals at plus 130. Under 2.5 is minus 160. So clearly leaning to the under there, according to the odds. And under 1.5 going further is plus 185. So what do we think? Brentford favored and heavy on the under here. What do we think is going to happen in this match?
Yeah, super interesting. Both teams playing, pretty poorly. Brentford haven't gotten a win in their last 8 matches, and as you mentioned, it's pretty wild to me that they're still sitting on 24 points and like 15th, I think, and like what have they done to remain in that place? The other thing for me is that Norwich not playing particularly well, but whereas Brentford didn't advance this far in the FA Cup, Norwich just lost Liverpool yesterday, so they're playing on kind of a short week here. This will be the fourth week that they've played on a short week in terms of playing a midweek cup match. And so in their previous 3 matches, they've lost 2 and drawn 1, and in 2 of those matches they were shut out, whereas the other match was a 1-1 tie against Crystal Palace. So I think betting the under on the goals here, they're playing on a short week. I mean, they did rest a couple of their key players in their starting 11, but you saw a couple other like Pookie played, Rashika played. There's some key guys in there that still played and that are going to have to try to turn around on a short week. So I think that given all that, I would go on the under on goals here.
Under 1.5?
I guess under 1.5 could be possible. Yeah, I guess under 2.5 is minus 160, but yeah, under 1.5 is a little bit bigger of a play at plus 185. Otherwise, yeah, that is a bit much. But otherwise, I would take Brentford here, like straight up as a win. And I believe they are at what do we got? Plus
160, I believe.
Yeah,
That's
plus
what I
160. So
Yeah.
I lean towards Brentford here, and then under 1.5 is a little bit of a bigger play.
Yeah, I just can't get behind Brentford here away from home. It's just too difficult. They lost 5 straight. They got that, so they got a random, so I guess this is when they're playing well, which is why they're 15th in the table. They won 2-0 at Wolverhampton in September, and then 2-1 at West Ham October 3rd. And then their next 9 away matches, they've taken 2 points. I'm not betting on that. I cannot take that route. I'm looking at a few things here. So you can get Norwich draw no bet is plus 100. So if a draw hits, you get your money back. Norwich win, you win. I also kind of like no on both teams to score. It's minus 115. You don't, you're not picking a side. Either team can win to nil right there. Both teams are kind of struggling to score. And I mean, Norwich won the last meeting 2-1, and that was actually when Brentford were actually playing a little better. So Norwich have this recent run of iffy results, and they did play midweek, so that's kind of worrying. Like I got the lineups pulled up. Brandon Williams and Max Aarons are both uh, game time decisions here because of issues. They missed the midweek match, so like if Norwich have to go with other fullbacks, like if they have to go with Giannoulis and Sam Bierman again, like they went against Liverpool on Wednesday, like that's a different situation at that point where they don't have their two starting fullbacks and things start to look a little different for them. But I still kind of like Norwich. Like you look at the recent results for both these teams are bad, but I mean Norwich, their last I can't remember. Let's see. Their last four matches here. So last three, they're at Liverpool, at Southampton, at Liverpool. Then before that, they're home against Manchester City. So like you can't really blame them for these results. Before that, they had a 1-1 draw against Crystal Palace. They won at Wolverhampton 1-0 in the FA Cup. So, and even before that, they won at Watford 3-0. So like you have this difficult run of matches here. So I wouldn't put too much into just those recent results. Whereas like Brentford, they pretty much struggled away from home all season. So I'm kind of surprised Norwich are actually underdogs here. I like that plus 100 on them for the draw no bet. And like if you want to take the goal route, both teams to score, I probably wouldn't touch the under 1.5. That seems a little too risky there.
Yeah, I think an added layer of complexity here too is that Brentford are going to get Ivan Toney back probably in the starting 11. He had missed about 3 matches with an injury, and then he came back and played a little under a half hour of the previous match. And in those 4 matches where he wasn't in the starting 11, they were shut out in every match. Norwich, not exactly the greatest back line. Ivan Toney, back in the starting 11, I think potentially makes a difference. And, overall, I just, 2 teams that are not playing particularly well, I just would opt for the team that didn't have to play a match 3 days ago.
Yeah, no, that's a solid counterpoint. I can't argue that. Like we can talk about the 2-1 win for Norwich early in the season, but they already had Zanka started that match. He got hurt in the 12th minute, and Charlie Good came on for him. And I'm not even sure Charlie Good. I think he got loaned out actually. So like basically, yeah, he's on Sheffield United right now. So in that match, that Brentford lost. They're for the majority of the match, they're playing a defender who has been loaned out. So like you can look at it one of two ways. Brentford also had 2.79 expected goals in that match, but that's kind of what they've been doing all season. They just have been struggling to score. So
yeah,
it's I guess the other thing here is there's a slight chance Christian Eriksen starts, and he came on around the 60th or so minute, I want to say, against Newcastle. And like once he came on, even though they're down a man against Newcastle, like Brentford were actually on their front foot for the last however many so minutes of that match. So that'd be something to also include there. I wonder if how much if the odds would actually change if Christian Eriksen starts. Like if they're plus 160 right now, like I wonder if maybe like those odds even include Eriksen possibly starting. I mean that he's not going to go full 90, but like Eriksen is like he's a top class player. So, and at Brentford, it definitely changes things up in their midfield. And like we saw last match, that changes just the motivation for everyone on the team. So.
Yeah, I mean, if he comes into the starting 11 for either of these teams, besides Josh Sargent, he's probably the best player.
You're going there, all right. Besides Josh
clouded for the listeners there, but yeah, no, I mean, he just adds just a lot more class there for Brentford, and Ivan Toney's running onto those through balls. I feel a little bit better.
All right. We got the Manchester Derby up next. This is Sunday's match in a standalone spot. Watford hosting Arsenal earlier that day. But Manchester City, they are home against Manchester United. As expected, Man City are minus 255 to win. Man United plus 750. And then you got a draw at plus 400. You can get over 2.5 goals at minus 165. Over 3.5 is plus 150. Under 2.5 goals is plus 135. If you look at the recent results, they point to under. Is that kind of what you're thinking here?
Yeah, absolutely. And plus you get much better odds. You got to go to the over 3.5 to get plus odds. on the total goals. So I'd say under 2.5 at plus 135 is the ticket here for me, at least. When you look at previous results in the past two Premier League matches, they've both been 2-0. So earlier this season in November, City beat United 2-0, and then last year in March, United actually beat City 2-0, and then there's been a League Cup match and then a couple other Premier League matches in a League Cup, and they've all been 2-0 or 1-0. So I would go with the under there, under 2.5. You get plus odds, and I think this could be once again kind of a defensive battle.
Yeah, it seems like, well, so Ralph Ragnick actually hasn't managed in a Manchester derby. So like, even though we're talking about these recent results, obviously it's a different manager. But I mean, when you put that into the equation, doesn't that mean fewer goals now? Because like he's more of a defensive manager than Solskjaer was. So like they're having all these defensive managers with Solskjaer, and now like you got to think that's kind of what uh, Ragnick's going to want to do in this match. He's probably going for a scoreless draw. Like that's that. I don't know. Like I think Man United would be okay with that result, but
Yeah, I mean, if you would have talked to me like a couple weeks ago about like who do you like, City versus United, there's always kind of like, I'm not sure it's a derby, but in City are just like a much better team overall from a quality standpoint. But given that result against Tottenham, I'm like, okay, well, I remember hopping on this podcast and being like, yeah, there's no way Tottenham.
yeah,
I said there's no way that they win, and foot in my mouth now here a couple weeks later. So it's like, I believe slightly more than I did in United. They're not, they have enough, if they're going to sit back and play a very, like bunkered in type of style, they have the players who can easily, who can counterattack and try to grab one on the break. So I think the value is on that under, and then if I just don't, a bet on Manchester City, just given the odds, isn't necessarily the smartest play because you're not getting like super great odds. So it's like if you're gonna do anything, you kind of go United here or try to target the goals.
yeah. Like if you wanted to bet a side, like you'd be going with like the best move would be like Man City -1.5 or something,
Right. Yep. Like
which
hoping that they
is
win in like a 2-0 draw
yeah, Man City minus one
or
and a half
2-0 win. Yeah.
is
Sorry.
is plus 110, and then Man United plus 1.5 is minus 125. So I don't know. I think in this matchup, it just seems like there's maybe more pressure on Manchester City to perform at home. Like this is the Manchester derby. Like we know like what goes on between these teams, like how like the type of team Man City is, the type of team Man United are. Like I wonder if like pressure is kind of built into these. Like Man United have won the last 3 games between these teams, played at the Etihad, and that dates back to December 2019. So it's not even that far away. So like maybe something to do with the pressure, but I'm not saying bet on Manchester United to win this match because like Manchester City they're still in a real battle here at the top of the table. But like I think it's just gonna be a little tighter than what the odds suggest. Like sure, there's always a chance it's a game that really goes off the rails, like the Tottenham Manchester City one, but I don't think that's how Ragnick wants to play this. Like he's seen his teams struggles to score against a lot of teams. Like he's not going to want to get into a up and down track meet kind of a thing with against Manchester City's attack. Like United just haven't been scoring like that, so I don't know why he'd want to play like that. But like they're getting so McTominay, he should be back. He's coming back from illness. Big question for Manchester City is Ruben Diaz missed out midweek with a leg issue. Like if he can't go, it might be Laporte and John Stones in the midfield. Otherwise, like Manchester City are pretty healthy. Like you're looking at the injuries. It's a bunch of youth team players, Zach Steffen, guys that don't really matter, but they got Gabriel Jesus and Grealish back midweek, so like they're pretty much full strength outside of Diaz. So injuries won't be a problem, but I'd lean with Manchester United plus 1.5, and then the under 2.5 goals.
Yeah. Another one similar to the under 2.5 goals is the both teams to score. You can get no at -110. last 7 matches, one of the teams in this matchup has not scored, so that's one that I would absolutely consider.
Yeah, I like that one as well. I wrote about it. If you want to check out my article, I went 4-0 last week. If you want to check that out.
And he's hitting FA Cup parlays, so
Yeah. So I wrote about the under. Actually, yeah, now I'm just revealing my article so you don't read it. But I did talk about this match, but I did point out the no on both teams to score. So I do like that one as well. So the next match, so we have game week 28 it's double game week. And like if you're an FPL player or Fantrax or whatever kind of player, it's double game week. We're not going to be touching on the second matches of these teams. Those are all on Thursday. Like there's no reason to, discuss matches a week in advance here. So we're just going to be talking about the weekend matches and Monday's match. We have Tottenham home against Everton. Tottenham minus 170 to win. You can get Everton plus 500 to win. Draw is plus 310. Over 2.5 goals, minus 130. Over 3.5, plus 195. Under 2.5 goals, plus 105. I think the odds are too heavy for Tottenham right here. What do you think?
yeah, I would go Tottenham or the draw here. Let's see. It's been about 4 of their past 8 matchups have been ended in a draw, dating back to May of 2019. So both Tottenham are such like a yo-yo. They'll come out and they'll win a huge game against Man City. They'll then draw, or they'll then drop a game to Burnley, and then they just beat the crap out of Leeds last weekend. So it's like I don't really know what to expect from them. Everton are way closer to relegation than I ever thought they'd be. We never really did get that Frank Lampard bump that we were kind of thinking was going to happen. I just think Tottenham, despite their yo-yo ability to win a big match and then lose one that they should absolutely pull away with, I still think that like Tottenham can win this one, or at least get a draw from it.
Yeah, there's two sides of this here. Just looking at recent results and everything. So we got Tottenham. At one point, Tottenham were playing really well at home, playing really well under Conte, and I think it came to the point of, I guess it was the prior Man City Tottenham match. Actually, I can't even remember now at this point. But maybe it was the Tottenham Chelsea matchup that we were talking about in the League Cup. That's what it was.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, and then but like you look at their last couple home matches, like 3-2 loss against Southampton, 2-0 loss against Wolverhampton. You throw those in there, maybe this home field advantage isn't what we thought it was. But then even like their best win recently is against Leeds, who are just giving up goals for fun. Like they just lost midweek. I guess that was Tuesday at Middlesbrough. They lost 1-0 against Middlesbrough. And, they started Harry Kane. They started Son. They started pretty much all of the regulars. And for 190 minutes, they could not score against Middlesbrough, who are 8th place in the championship table. Like, okay. So we got that in there. Sure, they're home. But the other side of this, we have Everton. They have some good results. Like, okay, I guess that good result is, win against Leeds. So I guess we can throw that away. So if you don't include that, they've actually lost their last 3. But I think more importantly, they lost 3-1 at Newcastle. They lost 2-0 at Southampton. So away matches. The other part of this is, I'm just keep diving further here.
Yes.
They got Doucouré back. Doucouré played full 90 against Manchester City last week. They probably should have gotten a point from that match. They played pretty well, but again, that match was at home. Doucouré didn't play in the prior 3 matches. So all these things here, they're just all these stats, just point to the opposite team. So it is the logical method just to be like, okay, well, Tottenham are home. We should just bet on them. Is that kind of how it goes?
No, the logical thing for me, if we're going to
not
go
bet it.
Well, yeah, I guess A, yes, would probably be not bet it. But B, if it's like, oh man, here's one stat that will say the other team will win. Well, whereas here's the counterpoint. The point for me would be to take the draw at plus 310.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably what it is. I just gave instead of like, one of those talking head shows, I just was talking to myself on each side. I
It's
was
like
supposed to say the bad things about Tottenham, and then you were supposed to say the bad things about Everton. We kind of messed that one up, actually.
it's like you came on to do kits and wagers, and I just like forgot to attend this week. You're like, well, Adam, what do you think about this one? Oh, well, Adam.
All right. So if we like the draw, what if this match finishes 2-2? I kind of like the over in this one. If you want over 3.5 goals plus 195, like we've seen Tottenham's back line be kind of iffy against better attacks. Like they gave up 3 against Southampton. And we've seen Everton allow some goals in their away matches. The way Lampard plays, it's a little more attacking than what we're used to with Everton. So I kind of like the goals in this match, even if it's like 3-1 to a side. I think there will be goals in this match. I don't think this is going to be like a 1-0 result kind of thing. So
Yeah, no, I agree with you there. I just like Tottenham prior to, where they played a Burnley side who doesn't really score a lot of goals, and then Leeds United, they axed their manager after the game. So prior to that, they were giving up quite at least 2 goals a game, and from a manager who like has kind of prided himself on defense in the past and has played really good defense. But yeah, so I think definitely the goals in this one. But yeah, honestly, the more we talked about it, the more I'm like, all right, let's take a flyer and take plus 310 on the bet on the draw for a bet.
yeah, I might consider that. I'll see what the odds look like before. I guess that's Monday, so we got some time. We'll see. We'll
Yeah.
see what happens. Actually, does Everton actually play today? If I'm not mistaken. As we talk about this, Everton are home against Boreham Wood today. So again, we're talking about this before that match, so we don't know if any injury is going to happen or anything. But I assume it's not going to be like a first-rate Everton team. They're playing. So Boreham Wood are fourth place in the National League. So
Let's
like
go.
I assume they're not. Lampard's not like busting out full 90s for all his best players because this is what the National League is, the 5th level. So
Yeah, let's
there
get
you go.
if you unrelated to the Premier League here, but let's get a plus 2,000 bet on Boreham Wood to advance.
Should we just
That's wild.
should we just
Rarely are
start
you
that
going to
up?
see rarely do you see Everton at minus 750. But when you're facing a fifth league or a side in the fifth league, then that's how you get it.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's the only FA Cup match today. I guess we could parlay that with Ajax in Netherlands,
Wait,
and
and
then
yeah, there's a
Betis
not.
against Vallecano and Copa del Rey. We can just go all in this parlay here.
Wait, do we have Nottingham Forest and Huddersfield today too?
That one's Friday, I believe. Yeah,
Oh, Friday. Okay.
yeah, something to do with schedules. Otherwise, I mean, yeah, it'd make more sense if they wait. No, that's Monday actually. So
Weird.
yeah, that's a really weird schedule. That's a week between matches here.
Yeah. Anyways,
Anyways,
as we dig into the FA Cup on our Premier League show.
anyways, so I decided it's Chris's time
Okay.
to give his best bet. So Chris, last week you had Mohamed Salah to score at like plus 175 in the League Cup final. Your backup bet was a Burnley double chance winner draw. I think that which hit.
That did hit.
Unfortunately,
Yeah.
you said Salah was your best bet. So that's a loss in your resume.
Yeah. Yep. You're right. I mean, initially I was like, Burnley, that seems like a fair one. But my emotions, my heart got the best of me. Mo Salah in a League Cup final. Figured that was going to be an easy cash at a pretty good rate there. But, didn't happen. No worries. We're back again. I'm 0 for my last 2 on best bets. Prior to that, I was on 4 straight. And so I got to get back to it here. And while, I had 2 bets, and usually I like to kind of, as we discuss them, think about how confident I feel in each one. The first one that I was thinking about was Brentford at plus 165. As we got discussing it, I liked your counterpoints, and I'm going to steer clear of that one. Although I do feel generally like Brentford might win that match. I feel better about them, but steering clear of that one just because of the uncertainty. I'm gonna go on the game that the biggest game of the weekend, the Manchester City derby. I'm gonna go no on both teams to score at -110. Past 7 matches, as I noted, one team hasn't scored; they've been shut out, and so I think that trend will continue. And I'm gonna go no on both teams to score -110.
All right, there you go. Yeah, I already agree with that bet, so I have no more comments from me here on this. We'll
Fair.
take it. So I'm going to a game. I was also I considered taking the under in that match, but I didn't want to, do the full Manchester best bet corner show here. So I'm
Yeah.
going with a match we didn't talk about and a team that I've had trouble with this season. So Aston Villa. I failed to mention even before that last week ahead of my best bets, I pointed out Watford +1.5 against Manchester United and Aston Villa money line at Brighton. They weren't my best bets, but I did mention them. So
Gold star for Adam.
All right, so this Villa Southampton match, I keep coming back to it just because on one side, the recent Villa results under Gerrard, they don't say goals, but it just makes sense that there's going to be goals in this match. So Southampton, they played midweek. I think they rotated almost everyone, but maybe 2 of their starters. I guess like Ward-Prowse and Walker Peters started in that match. Whereas West Ham, they pretty much started almost all of the regulars. Southampton still won 3-1. This was Wednesday in the FA Cup. But it seems like Southampton are scoring at least 1 goal every match. Like it doesn't matter who they play. Like they scored, 1 at Manchester United, 3 at Tottenham. I mean, you can go down the list of it. No matter who they play, they're scoring at least 1 goal. And then they've also allowed multiple goals in 8 of their last 9 away matches. Okay, I'm all right. Yeah, that is correct. That is correct. I just pulled it up again and I saw the 1-1 result at Manchester United and I had to double check. But no, that is a correct stat. I am not lying. So it just seems like goals are going to happen in this match. Like Villa got 2 last weekend at Brighton. Maybe that's going to lead to some more goals. They started both Watkins and Danny Ings up front with Coutinho. Like I mentioned last week, like they have a really talented team, and I don't think the other issue is that Salisu is a doubt. He missed the midweek match for Southampton. He's probably been Southampton's best center back this season. You put that in there. You also got the issue of Walker Peters had a hamstring issue midweek. So it looks like Romain Perraud may start there at left back. So that's another thing to do with. I just think there's going to be goals in this match. And so instead of, getting less value, so over 2.5 goals is -120. I do like that. But then I'm actually going to do, it's kind of you can take a parlay on DraftKings. You can get over 2.5 goals combined with both teams to score, and that's at +100 odds. So this is basically 2-1 type of match kind of a thing is what I'm saying. Instead of, just relying on getting -120 for the over 2.5, I'm just saying both teams are score. There's not going to be a clean sheet. Plus 100 odds. So you're just getting a few more bucks than just the regular over 2.5. So after all that, what do you think on this bet here? Do you think I'm going to finally win a Aston Villa best bet?
I'm hopeful for you. Confidence, I'm not sure. I would say this is spicy. Is this our first parlay as a best bet, or have you done a couple in the past?
I probably early on. I feel like I gave like a money line parlay at some point early on.
Yeah, pretty rare that we go out and do a parlay. So I think this one's really interesting. I can't believe Danny Ings hasn't started more games for Aston Villa. So it was good to see him. I think him and Watkins up front with Coutinho is their best attack, and then you bring on some of their other quality players like Leon Bailly off the bench, and you bring him on 60 minutes in. It's like, okay, that's a lot. It's a different type of attack to defend. So yeah. Anyways, yeah, I think both teams are playing well. So Southampton particularly are crushing it. Last 6 matches they have taken what is it, 11 points from their past 6. There's 10 goals in 6 matches. So as you noted, both teams, playing a little bit better in front of that. So yeah, I'm definitely intrigued, and I love the fact that it's a parlay, which is something that we don't typically do for the best bets. So that's pretty sweet.
Yeah, plus 100 seems like a good idea. We got any other tidbits here before the weekend?
No, looking forward to watching again, sitting on my couch throughout the day, Saturday, and watching a lot of Premier League.
Are we betting Salah to score? What's going on with that?
Honestly, I didn't even look at the odds for that game because I just assumed that they were not going to be that good. But as you say it, the one thing that Ivan Toney plus 185, as I continue to rail on those types of bets, but let me see.
So we got, I got it here. Salah's minus 135. Jota, if he starts, he's plus 115. Mane plus 140. Diaz plus 150. So I feel like we talked about this a few weeks ago. I said the odds didn't seem correct on Mane. They might have been against Norwich. I can't remember exactly, but he actually scored in that match, and that was a show where you said I'm not betting on Mane to score given his current form. So have your thoughts changed?
I mean, he's got 3 goals in his last 2 games, so yeah, a little bit. He had scored 1 goal in 12 matches. I was like,
hey, when you're forward for Liverpool, it doesn't matter what your form is. The goals will come depending on the matchup.
Yeah, that's fair. Give me Diaz at plus 150 over any of those. He's looked like he could score any game.
Has he scored yet for Liverpool?
Yeah, he scored the 3rd goal against Norwich, I believe.
That he did. Yeah, they got the Salah, Mane, Diaz trio of goals there.
Yep.
He did not score any of the 6 against Leeds, though. Is that where you?
What was it? 2 for Salah, 2 for Mane, and then 2 center back goals. So
yeah,
I wasn't too worried about it.
All right, there you go. That is it for Kits and Wagers. Chris has no on both teams to score between Manchester City and Manchester United. That is minus 110. I'm doing a parlay for over 2.5 goals and both teams to score between Aston Villa and Southampton. That's plus 100. Again, we got the odds page up here. Look at all these odds. This is Friday. If you're watching on YouTube, look at this. We got Peterborough back at it after losing against Manchester City. Man, we got championship odds in here, mixed with Serie A, mixed with Liga, mixed with Bundesliga, mixed with Liga MX, La Liga. Man, we got it all. Jeez, RotoWire killing it.
RotoWire.com. Check it out.
That's correct. RotoWire.com. If you want a free 10-day trial, if you don't have access to this, RotoWire.com/soccer trial. No credit card required. That's how easy it is. Chris, thank you for joining me in this discussion for Game Week 28. Let's get these best bets rolling, and let's get
another cup of coffee.
Yeah, let's get another cup of coffee and start our Thursdays here. Anyways, everyone, thanks for listening. Make sure to like and subscribe on YouTube or wherever you listen podcast form. We will be back for Game Week 29 next week, and until then, good luck with your bets. Hopefully we'll get some more winners out to you.
Thanks, Adam.